Our enemies will try to make you forget who you are.
Die beiden sind beste Freunde. Genauso wie du und Rudolf in diesem Alter waren.
Guten Tag, Kaiserin.
Ein perfekter, schwarzer deutscher Prinz. Würde das dir gefallen?
Yes, sir. I serve at the pleasure of the Kaiser.
Know that everything I did so that our people would be free.
What's the matter, Rudolf?
The Kaiser's like family. We raised as brothers to go against him.
Wilhelm is not your family. Your skin will always be the color of the rich Cameroonian soil. And they will always walk over it as if they own it.
Your family would rule under German protection. So why did you turn against us?
Your father's new ideas of independence are a cancer. I fear have infected you too.
Aber mit der Hinrichtung eines Jungen startest du einen Krieg.
Wir sind schon im Krieg.
They're inside the palace.
Kein Krieg. Lass mich sofort frei.
What you've just watched is part of our award-winning short film about Rudolf Duala Manga Bell, a heroic king, resistance leader, and martyr in the liberation of Cameroon, a German colony in Africa. It's a powerful chapter of lost history that deserves to be reclaimed and turned into a multi-season TV series so we can tell the whole story to a new generation.
The most compelling stories are true ones. You can help us tell this true story of a real-life African hero by expressing your interest at angel.com/GermanKing. The German King is the story about the brave people who stood up against oppression and rebelled against German occupation.
It's very much a Moses story. Rudolf Duala Manga Bell is an African born in Cameroon, and like Moses, he is raised as a royal in foreign courts, in his case, Germany. When he returns to Cameroon, he sees how his people are being subjugated, oppressed, and enslaved, and he rebels. He sacrifices his kingly comforts and riches for the good of his people. If you believe what Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, then understanding this story of injustice and how it was overcome is important. And we see that this issue is still an issue today.
We've seen films of heroic overcoming of injustice before, but The German King offers a previously unseen view of African valor and reclaims a lost history for modern audiences.
By immortalizing these stories in film, we preserve and keep them fresh in the minds of this and future generations. Seeing Africans as royals with their culture and heritage celebrated positively instead of stereotypically, young boys and girls of color will see people who look like they do. They'll see themselves represented in robust, meaningful, dignified ways. You'll also love seeing traditional costumes, language, landscapes, architecture, the majesty and splendor of Africa during that time. And you'll also see, of course, the extravagance of the European royals and their palaces and culture.
In this series, you'll see humanity in its glorious goodness as you see the explorers and missionaries who spread the gospel and seek to end subjugation. But you'll also see those who wanted to do the exact opposite. You'll see what happens when greed and gluttony become a priority, and the horrific consequences when we cease to see each other as human beings. We need your help to teach future generations what heroism looks like. Go to angel.com/GermanKing to show your support for this project now.
There's an old African proverb that says, "The tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter until the lion speaks." This project finally gives a voice to the lion. And many of our cast and crew are native Africans or descendants of Africans.
Adetokunbo McCormick currently voices the role of Isaac in the hit Netflix animated series Castlevania. Other acting credits, which are a ton, include blockbusters such as Oscar-nominated Blood Diamond, Battle Los Angeles, Where We Met, and Captain America Winter Soldier.
The German King series writer, Glenton Richards, is a Writers Guild Award-nominated writer, having written on the hugely successful series The Expanse, as well as having worked on shows like Fargo and American Crime.
And we have some amazing other film professionals like Emmy Award-winning editor Stephanie Filo, multiple Grammy Award winner Mark Batson as a composer.
We are so thrilled to be working with Angel Studios for distribution. Angel Studios series, The Chosen, the world's biggest TV series on the life of Jesus Christ, has generated hundreds of millions of views and over $100 million. I feel like I can identify with Rudolf Duala Manga Bell. We are both West African. We both grew up under colonial influence. I was born in Sierra Leone and I was raised in Kenya. And I attended a prestigious private English school, and everything I learned was about how amazing colonialism was and learn nothing about the rich history and culture of Africa prior to European arrival. So very much like Rudolf, I was indoctrinated into a foreign culture with very little knowledge of my own.
Think about it. If asked to name a famous African, most Americans would say Black Panther, which is a fictional superhero. Some may say Nelson Mandela, but there are so many more real-life superheroes from Africa, and this series is going to share several of their stories with you.
I grew up in Africa, and even I never knew African kings like Rudolf Duala Manga Bell or Queen Yasintewa even existed. I would watch movies like Braveheart and Saving Private Ryan and Lincoln, and I would think, I wish we had more films that celebrated our great African heroes. So that inspired me to make the short film, The German King, but it really deserves to be turned into a multi-season TV series to tell the whole story.
We want the next generation to get to see these real-life heroes who lived in Africa. This is a series we hope will empower communities around the world to celebrate and honor their African heritage.
You can join us and express your interest in helping us tell this story of courage, sacrifice, faith, empathy, and love by visiting angel.com/GermanKing now.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our stream. Yeah, for sure. We thank you so much for everybody who cross-posted, who's been, you know, checking out these streams. Glenton, let you take it. You're more comfortable at this than I am. You've been doing these.
Yeah. This is my third live stream now, so I kind of feel like a pro at this point. So yeah. This is your first, but you'll get the hang of it soon. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, my name is Glenton Richards. I am the writer and executive producer for The German King. And Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Chris Freeman. I'm the writer and one of the directors on German King, and also the producer. So there's a lot of titles for all of us to wear on this awesome series.
Exactly. You're a man of many hats.
Absolutely. Oh, that's why, you need it when you have a shaved dome. You need to wear a lot of hats. So there you go.
Exactly. Like I said, this is our third live stream and our first together. And wanted to give a shout out to people that have cross-posted and shared about the German King. Shout out to King of Solomon for sharing about this live stream. Thank you so much. And we're going to be, with you guys for the next, 30, 45 minutes. And we want you to express your interest in this whole TV show so we can get this series made. If you can, go to angel.com/GermanKing and express your interest at any amount and show Angel that you are interested in seeing this TV series get made. It's an amazing TV series about the life of Rudolf Manga Bell, and not just him, but about just the scramble for Africa, about that time period in the early 1900s fighting colonialism. And it's an amazing story, and we're really excited to tell this story and have it on your TV screens. So yes, please go to angel.com/GermanKing. We'll give you a shout out once you express your interest. And hello from Tennessee. Thank you, Lynn, for tuning in. And in addition to expressing interest, if we get 15 people to express interest in this series, I think we should do something today. Chris, what are you thinking?
Yeah, we have to. And thank you, Jennifer Ferguson from Columbus, Ohio, my hometown, for expressing interest. That's really amazing. We have to do something, Glenton, something that's fun and slightly embarrassing. Hopefully more embarrassing for you than me. So, so what are we going to do?
How about if we share an embarrassing job or something, or just a funny Oh, look, already got Lynn who's expressed interest of $150. Yes, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So how about if we get 15 people to express interest, then we can share a past job that we worked in the industry. I've got a couple definitely that I think could be fun.
Me too. I think we all do. If we're still standing, we definitely did something humiliating at some point in this industry. Yeah, it's just par for the course. And we need what, 14, because we have Lynn. Lynn just expressed interest, so we need 14 more. So
14 more people. If 14 more people tuning in, click on angel.com/German King and express interest. We can share a really embarrassing or fun story.
Yeah, and we've already had 660 people have expressed interest in the show, which is absolutely awesome. We're grateful for every single person. Yeah, it is. There's a momentum to this that is unlike anything I've been a part of, because it's so people letting us know what they want to see and what they want to what they're supporting themselves. It's not this, like, even though we love Angel Studios, they're not making the decisions. It's the fans. It's people who want to see the show, and that's what I love about this process. So
totally. It's really exciting. Yeah, over 550,000 or 560,000 in terms of express interest. He's expressed interest.
Sam Lichtenstein, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. 569,000 in express interest, over 660 people. Catherine, great to see you both.
Love you, Catherine. Another one of our awesome on our writing team. An amazing person.
Yes. John Harden from Clayton, Ohio. Thanks so much for tuning in.
John. Ohio supporting the Buckeye State.
Yeah, man, Ohio coming in strong. We got to get some of my peeps from Texas to tune in.
Texas is bigger.
Come on, guys. Come on, Texans.
Everything is bigger. Let's make sure the interest is bigger. Come on. I love Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Some of my peeps from LA, please give a shout out. Some people from Dallas, give a shout out as well. That'd be great.
That's right.
But just some updates on the German King. Things have been moving along. We've been, talking and bouncing around some ideas for this series, which has been really amazing. We also have some talent that is interested in this show, some actually pretty big name talent, which is really cool. It's like it starts to crystallize when you actually have people that are saying that I'd be interested in acting in this project.
And remember, talent, Glenton, is an industry speak, so we have actors involved, right?
Yes.
Like,
I'm sorry.
Audience, we need to make sure everybody understands.
Look at me speaking the industry jargon. Clearly, I haven't had enough coffee this morning.
I mean, there's a lot of talent already on the show, but this is the on-scring talent, the actors literally
the beautiful people that act and bring our words to life. Oh wow, we have an anonymous donor. Yes, thank you so much for expressing interest.
Thank you so much.
That is so amazing. So that's 2. We got at least 13 more people
13 to go
to hit our goal. That would be amazing. And so I had a wonderful meeting about a week or so ago with an amazing and talented actor who was just blown away by this story and is very interested in acting in this series. And so I can't reveal the name or any other details aside from that. Maybe we'll do that at a later date.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. He actually said he would be. He actually said he would be interested in coming on one of these live streams. So maybe
that's awesome.
Once
reveal.
Once
shore up all the necessary details, and we can
exactly.
That's my son used to do this thing, Glenton, where I would tell him it was time for bed, and he would go. I'd be like, okay, it's 15 minutes, you got to go to bed, because give him a heads up because he's in the middle of playing and having a blast with his Legos, whatever. And I'm like, 15 minutes, and you got to go to bed, and he'd go, but not yet. And then, so it was always not yet. Like, we've got this great talent to share, but not yet. What's really amazing too, just to share with everybody, is, we've got the full court press on as far as how we're reaching out to people. We want all the right people involved in the show, and Ade, Glenton, myself, Catherine, many of the other people that are coming in. We have so many great relationships with talent, on-screen talent actors, and really awesome people that other things I've been doing, other movies I've made or whatever, I haven't really been able to go to certain people because it just didn't fit for them. And now this is kind of almost fits everybody. Like there's something for almost everybody in this. And that's what I love about it, about the show. It's just like they're actors that are in something action based. There's some action in it. Actors that are in romance and drama. There's a ton of that in it. Historical actors that would only do things like, like The Crown or certain things like that. We're like, hey, wait, we're doing our version of The Crown. It's a different crown and other crowns you've never seen. And, so I think it's just really exciting about the potential for the team that we're going to be, continuing to put together for this.
For sure. Yeah. I often describe this show to people as, The Crown meets Game of Thrones, just without the nudity and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah. And we're gonna dial back the gore and the blood too. I mean, I'm all for it. Like we talk about, this is like a version of a William Wallace type story that just I didn't know who William Wallace was until I saw Braveheart, and then afterwards I'm going freedom and I'm yelling and like after the movie, I was obviously a lot younger when I saw it the first time, but. That being said, there's this element of that to it. We just are not going to maybe have all the limbs being lopped off and blood spurting in the camera and that we see in Braveheart. For the other battle, we are going to have really cool battle scenes, right, Glenton? We are going to.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be epic. It's what's great about this series is like it's going to take place not only in Africa but also we'll have parts in Europe that's going to be big. We're going to have the scenes in castles and we're going to have scenes on battlefields, and it's going to be very broad, very, very big, and just an amazing story. And so I'm really excited. Yeah. Catherine says righteous battles. Exactly.
Battles for sure. Well, and Ade was just sending some photos to me from from a couple of different places, and that he's been in Africa, and one of the locations that he spoke to, like the cannons are still, the armaments are still in place from like 500-600 years ago, and it's just looking at it, I'm just like, okay, we couldn't build this set. This is too cool, and so there's this element of that, and obviously Duala people are water people, and people forget that about Africa. And I know we're going to get into this. They forget that there are people think about desert and this. It's like it is lush. There's water people that were amazing athletes and amazing warriors, and it's just not what our preconceived notions from the West. Doesn't always. Those certainly aren't always true. So that's kind of exciting to think about all that side of it too. Just how beautiful everything is going to lush and how beautiful it's going to be when we're in Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. And so today we want to talk a little bit about just the writing process and just where we are in terms of bringing this idea together. We've got a great group of writers that we've been kind of meeting with and bouncing ideas around with in terms of this series and this potential series. So, and it's just everyone is so smart, so brilliant, brings such great ideas to this show, and so really excited to bring this to life. Thank you so much. Another anonymous person
thank you
expressed interest for $200. That's amazing. And so it's something that's been really amazing to watch and to help spearhead as the head writer myself, which has been a new role for me. I've been involved on a number of different shows, but leading this process has been really amazing and challenging in some ways, but also just awesome. Because honestly, like having a great team just makes all the difference. Because when everyone's kind of like carrying the load a little bit, it just makes it so fun and so engaging. And it's like I can't wait to like meet with other people, to meet with the team and talk every week and do that whole thing. So it's been really amazing.
Share that. I think, Glenn, people would be interested to hear that. So you obviously wrote on The Expanse, and you've been nominated for awards for The Expanse. What was it like in that large of a writer's room, and that kind of what was it like just the experience that you think people would be interested in hearing about?
Yeah, so I've been on a number of shows. And I've been on shows like Fargo. I've been on American Crime. Yeah, and most recently The Expanse. And The Expanse was a little bit. I've been on in really small writers' rooms. I've been in big rooms. I think The Expanse was kind of like a little bit in the middle for that in terms of like the number of writers and that kind of thing. But it was really amazing. It's such a talented group of writers, and The Expanse was based on a series of books. So we had kind of a little bit of a guideline of kind of where to go. Thank you so much, another anonymous person.
Yes,
Just for
thank you.
$100. That's so incredible. But within that, we had the authors of the show who are also writers on the. Or yeah, they're authors of the books. They were also writers on the TV show as well.
Oh, cool. That's unique. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but they were really great in terms of being able. They were just open to whatever ideas that we had, even if it was kind of like straight from the books a little bit. If it was a better idea, they're all for it. And so that was really really cool, and being able to kind of do that and kind of just be able to have that I don't know, just working in terms of sci-fi, like I don't know, it's like the world is your oyster, but it's more like the universe is your oyster. It's you can
right,
kind of do whatever, which is really great.
Whatever the
incredibly
mind's
smart
eye
people.
Whatever you can kind of conjure up
We
your
had
mind's
incredibly
eye.
smart people like Naren Shankar. He was our showrunner. He had worked on other shows like Star Trek, and a bunch of other things, and we just had writers from all walks of life come in, and so yes, that was really great to be able to do that. I was on since season 3 of the show. I actually started as an assistant in the room and worked my way up to a writer. And
awesome.
And we were on 2 different networks. We started on Sci-Fi. We got canceled. And then within 10 days, our fans had launched a campaign to essentially get us renewed and picked up at Amazon, which is incredible. And it also shows me the power of just fans in action. Of just the people just kind of like showing, expressing interest essentially of what they want to see on TV.
They did it in a different way. They were just like, and by the way, if you want to express interest in German King, please go to angel.com/German King to let us know that you are interested in seeing this series. So Glenn, from like a outside perspective, and I'll share a little bit of my writing process too. What's your process as far as when you, let's say it's your own piece and you're just writing your own pilot for your own idea, start to finish, blank page. What do you do from there? How's that go?
Well, I would say after about like 5 minutes of just crying that I'm about to start another project, then I just like, all right, here we go. Yeah. But it's kind of funny. It's like I feel like with every, I've obviously, written a number of scripts over the years, and many of them have been really good, and some have not been so great. But you learn a process of how to create a story, and I think honestly, every time I start a new story, sit down to write a new script, I get a little bit of like imposter syndrome, where I just feel like, oh my gosh, it's like what I'm gonna write this story and it's supposed to be good, and it's just like it feels like, so that creeps in just for a little bit, and so you just kind of have to push that out and just be like, no, I know this story. I've bounced it around in my head enough. I've chatted with other friends to kind of talk it out, and this is something that I think could be really fun. So I want to tell this story, and the thing for people to know is like when you write a script, the first draft is always going to be the worst draft. It might be very good, but it's also going to be the worst.
Really? It might be really good. It's generally go.
It might be good, but it also might be garbage.
Right? Writing is rewriting. I mean, you're never you're haunted by things, and then you're haunted by actors who go, "Well, this is just a roadmap, right? The script is only a roadmap." You're like, "What? No, there's an important line in there that anchors the whole, subplot or something." So yeah, there's a definite that's crazy. That you know what? But I think that humility that you feel when you sit down to do it, I feel the same way. You call the imposter syndrome, but the idea that like, am I really going to embark on this? This is going to be it's not even a can I do it? It's just a, ooh, can I do it? But it's like, is this going to be good when I'm done? You know, or can I get it to a place where it's good? I think that's the thing that I kind of come up against, where I'm like, well, I love something about it, and that's why I want to write it. You know, you don't know it all from the beginning anyway. You never could, even if someone's process is a treatment or beat sheets or whatever they end up doing. I mean, personally, I create a playlist first and with music, and that I just know somehow is going to inform certain scenes or represent certain beats in the arc of the story, so that I can just have something that I'm listening to. And I don't know how many I probably shouldn't say this on a live stream, but I don't know how many like lyric lines I'm like, that's such a great line, I'm gonna change that and use that idea in this scene, that and the sentiment of it, while I'm like trying to figure the story out. So that the playlist really helped a lot. And visuals, I usually start like a I mean, I've been directing for a while, so I've really learned how to. I've made a lot of mistakes, so when you do that, you learn how to approach the visuals. Like, how big is this going to be? Because obviously, we know we're anchored by a budget. You know what I mean, on everything. Even Expanse, you said you could do anything you want. It's kind of true, especially since Amazon was producing it. But still at some point, it's like 1 million, like 50 billion aliens attack the ship from every angle. It's like, could we just change that to 100?
Exactly.
Production, So anyway, no, but I think about I think about, well, what was your favorite one of your favorite moments, do you think, working on the Expanse, or just in other other shows?
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that about the kind of the budget being kind of narrowed down, because there was one time I did pitch an idea for, I think it was season 5 of The Expanse, and it was basically it was a very expensive idea, and they did it, and so yeah, it was really funny, because it was just like you pitch as a writer, and then the showrunner essentially will say, that's a great idea, or that's a great idea, but it's very expensive. And so what they have to do as a showrunner is you have to really kind of think in constraints of the production, of like what can be shot and what is, too big of a budget for for what we want to do.
Right.
So it's like, how can you tell an interesting story within the constraints of, the money that you have? So it's really, really awesome to be able to kind of like have those moments where it's like, oh, you pitch an idea, and like everyone around the room is just like, yeah, that's actually really smart, and so it's like having moments like that in on the Expanse was really kind of awesome.
What a cool, that's like a life-changing like moment, or like a career defining moment. Like, they took my idea and they're gonna spend the money on it.
I will say that is really fun. Was a really great moment, but also being able to create a whole web series, because what we did for season 6 of The Expanse is, in addition to the main season, Amazon approached us and they said, we'd like to create this web series, and we'd like you guys to create this, and come up with the ideas or whatever. And so myself and Juliana, who's a staff writer also on The Expanse, we created this series together. We came up with these ideas from scratch, and we pitched it to Amazon, and they liked it, and we ended up filming 5 of these episodes, and we got nominated for a Writers Guild Award, which is amazing. So just kind of being a part of that process from start to finish was incredible, and that kind of gave me a little bit of my first taste of like producing on a larger scale, being able to create something from start to finish, being able to get notes and make changes, and kind of seeing something from script to screen, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's from script to screen. Plus, you got a little taste of power. Ah!
Exactly, right?
Make,
Yes.
you know, yeah, I know. It means a lot. It's a lot of validation and working really hard, and I would say this. I would say like one of my favorite moments just in the industry and doing this is I've been fortunate enough to write and direct some of my own stuff for feature films, and I've worked with actors that I watched when I was a kid. Like one of my I can call him my friend now, and just an actor that I absolutely love and I just think is so underrated is C. Thomas Howell. And my sister had posters of him up from The Outsiders and with Rob Lowe and Tom Cruise, and had my sister had posters of people up in her room. And it's just cool later in life that when I watched his movies like The Outsiders or E.T., and then just to be having a conversation about the dialogue in a scene, and he actually cares enough to go, well, wait, wouldn't I do this? And just sitting there, and I've worked with Edo Ross, and I've just worked with some really great actors. I can't list them all, but Elizabeth Rome, Edo Ross, Nick Gonzalez, just tons of really great, people too. And it's such a cool moment when you step away and you look like, after they actually made the notes and the changes. Oh my gosh, Lauren B from Georgia, thank you. We just
wow,
thank you so much.
Was that 5,000?
Yes, it was. Thank you for expressing your interest. We're
incredible.
So humbled. Must have been my amazing story that I was telling.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
I was
literally on the edge of my seat listening, and I almost went online to express interest. I was just like, this is amazing.
Captivating.
But yes. That's so great. But thank you so much, everyone. And once again, if you can, express interest in this show, so we can bring this series to life, go to angel.com//German King. And please share it with your friends, your family, your enemies, whomever, and express
that's like
interest.
Elvis. I love I saw the Elvis movie, which I loved. I like Baz Luhrmann a lot, and I think it's a real accomplishment to be able to bundle it together and show the roots of where it came from and the African American community and where the music came from. I just thought it was handled pretty well. But that being said, I think it's crazy. Colonel Parker would sell "I love Elvis" buttons, and also "I hate Elvis" buttons, because he was like, "Hey, if they hate you, at least we'll get money from them for it." Like,
right,
you know what it was crazy, like carnival salesman, like what he did. But I actually do think what kind of rings true just about that too is his life. The fans made him too, and I don't know how we got away from the fact that the studios would say, "Oh, this actor's worth $10 million, and everyone will watch this movie if we just put their face on it." Now suddenly we're a little bit further away from the giant movie star, and we're more about the content. We're more about who is what is this about? What does it say? Is it positive to the world? Does it bring light to the world? Is there something? Is there a reason to to get behind this project? And I feel absolutely with what we're doing with the German King that there's a ton of reason to get involved and support it.
Yeah. And that's honestly why I'm so grateful to Angel Studios, who's the studio behind this project, for helping spearhead this project and bring it to life. As they recognize the importance of this story, they recognize the amazing drama in this story, and so being able to then go out and get people to express interest in this project to potentially make it into a actual TV series is amazing. And so hats off to everyone at Angel Studios for getting behind this project and helping every single day. So it's been incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, Glenn. And I'll just mention too, it's just like what I think is really cool about the creator community at Angel is there are other creators teams, creative teams like us that are working on their shows or their series or movie or feature, whatever it is. And it's a very supportive community. It's like we shout out, like I was able to meet the ladies behind Pharma in person when we were at Angel Studios when Day and I were there shooting some of the promo stuff. And it's just awesome. They're just we all are kind of in the same place. I don't want to say emotionally, but we all feel our stories are important, and seeing other people say, "Hey, we think it's important too," validates it and helps us keep going on the journey, which is why we need the support, and we need people to express interest.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was curious, what are you like? What moments are there any? Are there any moments that you're excited to see in season one without giving too much away? Are there any
Oh gosh.
characters or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, interestingly enough, the Cap Carey character. So there's this female warrior who we really haven't. I haven't seen in much. There's a glimpse of her in
Yeah.
Black Panther. There's a glimpse of her coming out in different,
Yeah.
I think, bands of content in the future.
Yeah.
But the idea that, oh, thank you, Arizona.
Thank you.
Support from
Another
Arizona.
anonymous
Thank you.
donor. Thank you for expressing interest for this project. Yes, we're getting even
Yeah,
closer.
thank-
If we get 15 people, we can share a job
Embarrassing,
that we worked
humiliating.
on. That,
Yeah,
we're really excited.
course.
I've thought of one that I'm excited to share. So
Oh,
so
beautiful,
if we get a
beautiful.
few
I'm ready. I've
people
got mine ready too.
expressing-
Well, yeah, I've got a couple. I'm sure we both have a bunch, but I think
Yeah.
just getting back to that is seeing. There's an element of the Count of Monte Cristo in this. And what I mean by that is people who they have stuff taken from them and they have to they have to adapt and learn how to get new skills, whether it's Rudolph becoming an attorney and learning the legal system of Germany so that he can say, hey, you're breaking your own laws. If you guys agree with the rule of law, then you're breaking your laws. Same thing with the warriors, where sometimes the men didn't step up, and sometimes the women had to step up and fight, just like in life, just like in every other area of life. Different people become heroes, unlikely heroes, and I think that to me is, I'm so excited. If it's not necessarily one singular moment, it's the moment we start building those characters' stories and we know where they're eventually going, And so to me, it's kind of like the origin story, Glenn. Like if we can pull off all the origin stories as we're writing and as we're shooting and as we're planning, then it's just going to be that much more powerful when they extract their vengeance or retribution, whatever it may be. Right?
Yeah. No, what's really great about just the writing process in general is being able to kind of see the end where you want to take a character or take just a situation or a show. We had another anonymous person expressing interest. Thank you so much. This is incredible.
You. That's our from DC.
What's great? Yeah, what's great being set up, like you said, that origin story essentially for these characters. So in the pilot, I think for the German King, I think we've thought of some really interesting ways to kind of show these characters in like a place that they're going to be very different from by the end of season 1 or by season 2. And it's going to be really interesting to kind of like take the audience on that journey from seeing people as friends that later become enemies, people that, are really timid initially and really become great leaders later on. And so kind of being able to kind of show the impetus of what made people who they are, of what kind of almost, I guess, inciting incidents really that really kind of help spark something in these characters will be really interesting to show. And so those are some of the moments that I really look for when I sit down to write like a pilot or any script really, is just looking for those little moments that you can really build upon to then have a really great payoff at the end. Because it's like the payoffs are amazing, but it's not as great unless you have a really good setup. So you have to have a good
that's
setup.
Absolutely right. It's the law of diminishing returns. Like the stakes have to get bigger and everything has to keep going. Which
Absolutely.
I think it reminds me of a quote from. There's two different quotes. I'm going to butcher the second one, but the first one's from Nicolas Cage, and he just says, "What do actors look for in a script?" And he's like, actors want to say cool stuff. They want to look cool and they want to say cool stuff, right? Which of course, coming from Cage, that's hysterical. It's amazing. But and then Anthony Hopkins shared a similar sentiment, but he said actors are looking for their moments in the script. And I think that as a director, as a writer, as an actor, I think any creative side of this, you're looking for those. The studios call them the trailer moments, right? Like you're looking for the trailer moment where the audience is like, oh, it's the leaping with the sword coming down on a wave of enemies. And you're like, this is amazing. I want to see this thing, right? So I think that us being the architects of that, and you being the head architect of it on this show, and you and Ade, and us being kind of like all in, encompassing. Although I'm certainly gonna have my voice in the thing, but it's pretty exciting, man. It's a lot of responsibility too, actually, which is another which. I guess a good segue into the themes like we were going to talk about. Like it's there are these universal themes with all the stories that we're telling. I mean, simply what you were talking about, two brothers that, I mean, how universal is that theme? Two brothers grow up loving each other, spending their childhood together, and then become enemies, on different sides of a war, on different sides of an argument, on different sides of business, whatever, and, and it's like, I feel like that's just universal, those themes that we're kind of dealing with.
Yeah, there are definitely some really interesting universal themes. One thing that we've been discussing is just like how in the early 1900s there are certain types of technology, things that don't exist now that kind of can be a bit of a hurdle in terms of the characters and in terms of just communication, that kind of thing. So like, letter writing was the form of communication back then. And it's just like if you didn't, you wrote a letter and you hoped it would reach the final destination, the person that you're trying to reach, but there's no instant gratification of like texting somebody and like, getting a text back, 30 seconds later. It's like, you send a letter and you wait weeks and it's like, I think that person's still alive, right?
Are they alive? Yeah. The delayed gratification. Well, think about someone sending a letter from like, Cape Town to London, it's like, how long would that take, and back then, and also too, I think that delayed gratification, dare I say it, made things more interesting and made them more powerful when you did receive the love letter that had the little spray of perfume on it. You know what I mean? Like, I have one letter from the person I've been pining for and in love with, instead of like 100 texts and pictures of their avocado toast and everything else that we can share with each other at the top of just a thought, right? So it's kind of, I don't know, there's a romantic in me. I certainly wouldn't have liked not bathing and being dirty and not having electricity all the time and heat and cool and all that, running water everywhere. But the romantic side is, man, when you really wanted something, you had to fight, And back then, I mean, even if it just, even walking in the, even getting from point A to point B. So I think that the technology and those themes, I don't think it changes, the fact that we can check on our family or with just a quick call, whatever, they would check on it in a different way. Their family they knew where all their family were. They would let each other know if they were traveling, interesting, just crazy stuff. Right. It's a different, and we're all still humans, we're the same humans. We just, things have, and technology's advanced. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really exciting stuff. And one thing that we were going to kind of talk about, I mean, it's having worked in Hollywood, we get a chance to work with some really amazing people a lot of times, and those include actors as well. And a couple people that I've had a chance to work with have been really amazing. One is Billy Bob Thornton. We worked together on Fargo. There's myself, that little fresh-faced kid with Billy Bob.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think that was for the press day for Fargo season 1. Another person I got a chance to work with is Jordan Peele. The amazing actor as turned director. We worked together years ago, and amazing person, super friendly. Both him and Keegan-Michael Key are great. And so those are some really
that's
cool
awesome. Those are awesome.
Well,
with. You know what? I'll bring it up because you just used Jordan Peele. So my dear friends Sean Reddick and Yvette Yates Reddick, they actually Sean executive produced Get Out with Jordan Peele. So he was kind of he was one of the people, because there were other guys involved. Ray Mansfield, a bunch of people involved, obviously putting that amazing project together. But they just did a premiere for Day Shift, their movie with Jamie Foxx, which is on Netflix, which is released today. And I was invited to the premiere in Los Angeles, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make it work. So I know, it's so sad. I would have been there Wednesday, and it would have been cool because I worked for Michael Mann on Collateral and Miami Vice, and so I spent a lot of time getting Jamie Foxx's lunch and other things. So it would have been good to see him again. I also had, but he was wonderful. I also had drinks at his house and other things. So he was a wonderful, a good dude, and so it would have been cool. Yeah. But yeah,
I will say, having worked on a number of productions, you can't do your job if you haven't had a good lunch. So craft services is very important. So hats off to anyone who's ever gotten lunch for any person. And
on the big shows, it's very difficult. Actually, part of my humiliating story will involve that if we're gonna, if we reach our threshold, which I think we will. But I think having 100+ lunches to deliver to a production office, full team, on a giant feature, and having one person responsible for it is actually pretty stressful. Like it's a little bit, it's not like they just you order and pick them up. You check everything. It's just a crazy, people are not happy when they get the wrong lunch, right?
Yeah. Totally. So we wanted to talk before we do that. We want to show just a 1-minute trailer of the short film for the German King. So do that up now, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Our enemies will try to make you forget who you are.
Die beiden sind beste Freunde. Genauso wie du und Rudolf, diesem alten Ware.
Guten Tag, Kaiserin.
Ein perfekter, schwarzer deutscher Prinz. Würde das dir gefallen?
Yes, sir. I serve at the pleasure of the Kaiser.
Know that everything I did so that our people would be free.
What's the matter, Rudolf?
The Kaiser is like family. But raised as brothers to go against him.
Wilhelm is not your family. Your skin will always be the color of the rich Cameroonian soil. And they will always walk over it as if they own it.
Your family would rule under German protection. So why did you turn against us?
Your father's new ideas of independence are a cancer. I fear have infected you too.
Aber mit der Hinrichtung eines Jungen startest du einen Krieg.
Wir sind schon im Krieg.
They're inside the palace. Kein Krieg.
Lass mich sofort frei.
I love seeing Ade and that thing. Yeah. That's so great. Yeah, who we miss, who should be here, but he's traipsing around the world. We know how the globe-trotting Ade is. So exactly. I never know where he's at. I'll talk to him. Oh, thank you, Anonymous. One more show of interest. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that gets us up. So
thank you so much to everyone that has expressed interest. Yes, now. And please, once again, go to angel.com/German King. Interest. Smash that like button and subscribe, as the kids say.
That's right. So we need 7 more. We need 7 more people to express interest, and we'll be there. So
I believe now we might be. I believe that might be 6 more now, maybe.
6? Okay, good.
But right. I mean, your math is better than mine. But
we're one off either way.
But we are closing in. We are closing.
7 more.
We're closing in on that goal. Okay, 7 more.
Wait, I just heard from the studio. It's 7 more. Okay.
All right. So there's a big anniversary this week, and then that is the anniversary of the death of Rudolf Manga Bell. And do you want to talk about that a little bit, Chris?
Sure. Yeah. So Monday, so August 8th. So in 1914. On August 8th,
August 8th,
is when Rudolf died, and he died for his people. So, obviously, it is not just a big deal to the people in Cameroon and all the Duala people. It's there's a lot of around the world. There are dignitaries, from Europe, from America, that go to attend, that have attended past memorials for him in Cameroon. And we actually have a few images that were sent to us. We weren't fortunate enough to be there this year. Hopefully, we will be able to attend. But this first image that you're looking at, this is actually where Rudolph was killed. And this is basically a monument to, this is the exact spot. And you can see the chairs in the background, that this is where part of the ceremony takes place, the memorial. And we'll see some of the folks that attend, but you can also see this carved boat, which is really neat. This is to represent the Duala people. They're a water tribe, a water people. And this is, essentially placed here to just represent it and to show it with honor, to honor Rudolph. So this is another monument. And all this is what happens is they start at one point. And I was speaking to Prince Daniel, was kind enough to walk through some of it with me, and he's taken part in
Prince Daniel, who is the Prince of Cameroon.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn.
And a direct descendant, of Rudolf Manga Bell.
Yeah, and really has been amazing. A direct descendant has really been amazing with helping us access stories from the family. It's things that we would, normally not have. We wouldn't know where to get certain pieces of information. And so it's just a wonderful, and Prince Daniel we had him as a guest on one of the first live streams. So hopefully we'll see him again, because he was awesome. But he basically says that they walk from place to place, somewhat of a procession, and they go, and this is of course Rudolph's final resting place, where they've come here, and just pretty powerful stuff. There were obviously other martyrs, other people that they're honoring as part of the ceremony, although it's all centered around Rudolph's day of death. So it's pretty amazing, and they have like religious leaders. Obviously the king and the royal party, and there are the Duala tribe and members of that. You can see the king in yellow there. It's just incredible. The entire, it's hard for us to understand what it is, because we in America and in the West, we don't necessarily have this moment of martyrdom. We think about all our military that sacrificed at times to World War II and really noble causes and things like that. But we don't really have the leader that was killed for the people. And that's pretty, it's pretty amazing, Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's like we don't have battles, like, historically we don't have battles in America, and we don't have these people that, really sacrifice their lives for an amazing cause. I'm from Texas. Both my parents are from Sierra Leone in West Africa, but I was born in Texas, and out there you learn a lot about the Alamo, about, remember the Alamo is about, these people that, sacrifice their lives fighting, the Mexican army, and from that they essentially became martyrs. And so that is like as close to martyrdom as I learned growing up as a kid. So
that's a great, that's a really good comparison. And obviously the entire world, fought the evil powers of the Nazis and, other folks, which is really amazing, because where we start our story is right before the Nazis started, about 20 years before they, I don't know, no historians call us out on this, but essentially our story starts, and then the Nazis were on the rise toward World War II. Because our story is the lead up to World War I. And so it's pretty intense how, how sobering some of this stuff in history is. We're excited to tell the stories, but, Glenton, we can go to the store and grab something. We can, we don't have bombs raining down on our heads right now. Hallelujah. Poor people in other places, but it's like, it's kind of sobering to realize that this has been going on for a long time, and people fighting against oppressors,
Absolutely. And actually, on that note about World War I, it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, like, this story is largely around the life of Rudolf Manga Bell, but it's more of an ensemble type show, and it's a very broad reaching show. And one of the things that we hope to kind of talk about if we get like a season 2 or more, is the lead up to World War One, because a lot of the characters that are central to this show will have direct impact essentially on the start of World War One, which will be really interesting to see. I think if we can get to like season 2, that would be amazing to kind of pay that off. And so
for sure, we want to make 6 seasons easily. Like we think we can maybe get there. I don't know. Glenn and I haven't really talked about this, but Ade and I have plenty. So so we're closing in on the end. Glenn, I think we're just a few short of our goal, but we still have to share. I mean, we can't.
Well, I think we definitely have to share. Like, and to be honest, like we had so much participation today that so many people expressing interest. One person expressing interest up to $5,000. That's incredible. So I think we should absolutely go ahead and share our stories.
Sure.
Chris, if you want to lead off and share
I'll lead off because yours I think
a
is better
funny
than
job
mine.
or yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I did. So I brought up lunch and getting lunch intentionally. Because it's kind of what the rite of passage is for anybody who works in the industry. And so when I worked on Collateral and we had an amazing production office staff, and I was one of the PAs to start. And I was, they made this for us, as you can see my amazing photo, and other people from the office. They Lord of the Lunch is the is what they is this amazing or what? Actually, one of the and this is all the production staff. Actually, wonderful people. My dear friend Carrie Brody and Karen Jarnicki, the amazing production coordinator, production manager, UPM producer now. Ellen Morris, David Silverton, just really Angie Lee Cobbs, who's wonderful. But anyway, I had to just bring all them up. But they were like, look at this. And it was like everywhere in the office. And I was like sitting there, and it's like, at least they gave me a sword, but also they're like, these are the lords of the lunch. If anything goes wrong, if anything, this is who you blame. And, and so it's kind of like, but it was pretty fun.
Nice. Well, I must say you look beautiful with long flowing hair, fighting orcs. And so, that's not much more needs to be said from that. So my random job that is really funny, that I actually, like people are actually kind of shocked to hear about, is so my very first job in the industry was a dinosaur wrangler. And you think like I was a dinosaur wrangler. Yes, I worked on Barney and Friends. I literally would help Barney, Baby Bob, BJ get dressed in the morning. I was more in charge of the little dinosaurs, so they're little people like Baby Bop and BJ and Riff. He's the orange one. So they'd show up and they'd get in these black spandex, and then like I'd open up the back of their costumes. They'd climb inside. I'd zip it up. I'd put their heads on, and then I'd take them. I walk them by their hands to stage, and that was my job for several months. And it's an amazing job. I still keep it on my resume just because it's it's incredible. It's how can you get to say I was the dinosaur wrangler?
That totally beats.
But I got to work with Barney, and it was amazing. So that is my random job. So I hope that the fans are people tuning in appreciate that.
Yours was certainly worth it for sure. Seeing those, I love that you keep it on your resume. It's also a great talking point. I worked for the Olsen twins when they were twins, young. It's still like not like on a feature, and it was pretty. Not because I don't like their work. Their management team didn't have a lot of tact and were really not nice, and so. So we had to go. So it's kind of like a constant barrage of humiliations while you're trying to do your job, So I could totally, it's like, but I was proud of the work. But
my kids, my little sisters were big fans of the Olsen twins, of all of their hundreds of movies that they put out as kids, and so hats off to you for for battling and working with their
Thank
team
you,
and
sir.
everything. So
They were great. It was, like I said, it was we don't like to talk about negative stuff but it was just a rough, not knowing what I'm doing as an assistant and being berated half the time for stuff that I didn't even know what they're talking about was like, that was kind of tough. But hey, it builds character. It builds character.
Incredible. Yes. Character building. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to this live stream. It's been incredible. And please, and actually we have a couple questions. So let's get those answered. Who actually now lives in Manga's palace, or how is the building being used or occupied today? Great question from Jennifer Ferguson. I don't know the answer to that. I assume that the royal family still lives in the palace.
I don't know, because I saw pictures of the royal family's home, but not a lot. So actually, this is something that we'll have to kick this down the street to Ade for the next live stream.
Ade definitely knows the answer. Next time we have a live stream with him, he will absolutely have an answer for that. So,
and it's a great question, Jennifer. So thank you for asking. It's an awesome question.
Absolutely. So, who are your favorite side characters? Not just storylines. Well, you did answer one earlier that you really liked and were excited to see. I will say, I'm really excited to. It's funny to call her a side character because she's such an important character in history. But Queen Victoria, I think, is going to be really cool to see. Like I said, this show takes place in largely in Africa, but there's a lot of stuff that takes place in Europe. So Germany, England, etc. It's going to be a very wide-reaching show. So I hope to really do her justice as a character. But it'll be really interesting to kind of to dive into her story a little bit as well.
And to that point, Glenton, that you just said about Victoria, Queen Victoria, what I find it's interesting that we're doing, because I'm working on another project with her, and I'm doing the character very different because we're looking at her toward the twilight of her reign, and she's just kind of trying to keep the peace of all of her family members that are waiting for her to die, essentially, and pick her clean, right? So we're looking at this woman who kind of is one step ahead of all of the other rulers in Europe because she's just got more power than they do, and it's kind of we're seeing her through a different lens in the German King, I think, than I've seen her in. It's with Vicky, and I was actually, you say Victoria, I say Vicky is one of my to me one of the most interesting characters, and that I'm extremely excited about.
So those are two different characters for audiences. There's Queen Victoria. There's her goddaughter, Vicky, who's a very important character who we haven't really seen much in terms of historical shows or whatever. So that'll be really interesting to dive into that character as well. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thanks, Catherine.
Yeah, great question. Is it difficult to write characters when they are based on historical figures? I actually don't think so. I like the challenge of being able to write dialogue for characters that are based in history. I think there are a little bit of guardrails that you want to kind of stick to. You don't want to stray too far from their actual personality in terms of what is actually out in history and everything. But I think it's really interesting to kind of show how they got to where they became an important character in history. So maybe earlier in their life, they were one way, but then as they got older, they witnessed certain things or they experienced certain things that helped inform who they became and how we know them as historical figures. So it's a fun challenge, but I really enjoy it. So.
Yeah, and I think that I think it becomes more difficult with more beloved characters from history. That there's already a lot of research and a lot of avid historians that have published stuff or lots of commentary on it becomes a little bit more difficult because the one thing, I've worked, this is the second historical type of project that I'm working on. And I kind of feel a responsibility to not go too far with the creative license one way or the other with the larger with characters that are known. You just feel like you just want to do them, I'm doing this other project with Harry Houdini, and it's just constantly all along I just want to make sure that I don't make him out to be something he's not, you know what I mean, and by a modern lens, so it is. And so Ryan, thank you for tuning in and for the question. Ryan's an awesome, Ryan's another awesome writer.
Okay. So when and where do we get to watch The German King? That is a great question. I think once we, reach our goal, we will be able to produce this. So once again, if people can go to angel.com/German King, express interest. And once we, are able to do this, once we reach our goal, then we can actually go and film this. And we are already talking about locations we'll film, and and obviously characters, and all that stuff. So once we do that, we'll film it. It'll air on Angel's app, on Angel Studios app, and then it's off to the races. At that point.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. So, and so fingers crossed, if everything goes according to plan, early next year, we can film this. And then by, towards the end of the year, we can actually, air it. So that'd be amazing. So
that's our goal.
So fingers crossed. Yeah. That is our goal. So, but thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Once again, I'm Glenton Richards. I'm the writer and executive producer. And Chris.
Yep, and thank you again, everybody, for expressing interest, tuning in, all the questions. I'm Chris Freeman. Again. I'm the producer and one of the directors of the show with Audet, of course.
Yes.
So,
and thank you again, and we will be back soon to do another live stream. So please stay tuned, and in the meantime, continue to share our website and the project, and have more people express interest. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Energy by me Madoe masumonde dikadiwo onjade bue koko biese miyango majaleno miyango Though history may not be kind, let truth be a lasting guide. Change comes when you believe. Give greatness all you can